Introduction. As I celebrated what was right with the world, I began to build a vision of possibility, not scarcity. Possibility, always another right answer. DeWitt Jones. You'd never know it by watching the news these days, but there is indeed much to celebrate about what is right with the world. And that includes the unprecedented ability we have today to fix what's wrong with it. Empowered by exponential technologies and entrepreneurial creativity, we're beginning to see that there's really nothing we cannot achieve. Just consider, for example, that in biology, we're editing genes inside the human body and regenerating complete organs. In computer science, we're witnessing the advent of quantum computing and the brain-computer interface. In physics, we finally realized the long-sought metallic hydrogen, a holy grail room-temperature superconductor that will also enable deep space launches with a single-stage rocket. In space, we've observed gravitational waves, are finding more nearby exoplanets in the Goldilocks zone, just right for supporting life, and perhaps most interesting of all, discovered that Uranus's atmosphere of hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, methane, and carbon dioxide makes its air smell like a giant fart. How can we not be excited to be living in such times? Amazing things are indeed happening every day, and each new discovery opens new vistas and possibilities. Never in human history have we enjoyed so many astonishing innovations and so many new right answers. Yet, curiously, many wrong answers persist, kept alive and perpetuated by a news industry that panders to mankind's most primal instincts. Rather than orienting and advancing our thinking toward an abundant future, the media profits by regressing it to primitive modes we've long outlived. Fear, sensationalism, and generally just making the world feel less safe are their stock in trade. Yet while our survival instincts have evolved to predispose us to a hyper-awareness of potential threats, and that programming is stubbornly still with us, we have got considerably more mental bandwidth available for the sunnier side of life. But the media environment seems to keep those positive signals shrouded in noise. Of course, eons ago, when people lived on the savannas of Africa, they quite necessarily stayed attuned to the hazards of the wild. Indeed, it was a dangerous place and time. In those days, if you missed out on the bad news, you got wiped out of the gene pool. If, on the other hand, you didn't get the good news, well, nothing much was lost. Opportunity costs were comparatively low. Today, we don't need to fear attack by saber-toothed tigers. We're decidedly at the top of the food chain now, and yet we remain attuned almost exclusively to the bad news. Sadly, this steady diet of gloom and doom has affected, or shall we say, infected, our global consciousness. We now need to fundamentally change the software of our mental and instinctual programming from one based on threat and survival to one of promise and prosperity. Otherwise, the programming that ensured our survival all those years ago might just lead to our extinction tomorrow. But let me assure you, the world is going to be a better place tomorrow. It's really not surprising, though, that we haven't progressed much on the future front. We still face it with more fear and trembling than excitement and anticipation. I've become convinced that the reason for this is twofold. First, we've forgotten how to dream big dreams, the really big dreams, the kinds of dreams that show that mankind can reach for and actually touch the stars. Impossible dreams that truly do come to pass when somebody dares to dream them. Dreams that are so big that when you share them with others, they begin to wonder if you might be crazy. The second condition holding us back, and perhaps the reason for the first, is a fear of failure. The fear of failure, there's a word for it, Aticophobia, is so debilitating and immobilizing that it keeps many people from ever attempting to achieve anything at all. Indeed, the phrase, "in your dreams," has come to mean, don't even think about it. Both of these conditions, though, are nothing more than mental constructs, They are, quite literally, all in one's head. A mindset ruled by these two modes of thought constitutes a deadly 1-2 punch, the results of which are manifested in the myriad and systemic crises-inducing paths we find ourselves walking today, and find us still cautiously approaching corners around which saber-toothed tigers might be lurking. Our mindset is a mind-bogglingly powerful entity. It is entirely responsible for the world we've created, and it will define the world we'll live in tomorrow. In the end, we will realize either the world we fear to imagine or the world we dare to dream. Our fear of the future, though, like any phobia, has an underlying cause. And if we can get at the root cause, then everything, and I mean everything, can change.